Hello, everyone. Welcome to my Salesforce Flow demo session. My name is Rupesh, and I'm a Salesforce consultant specializing in various Salesforce clouds, such as Financial Services Cloud, Sales Cloud, as well as in Salesforce automation, such as flows and approval processes. So in this demo, I'll be showcasing an account management flow that I built, which streamlines contact and opportunity management while leveraging Salesforce flows, and also has some of the new features, such as repeaters, sliders, custom data tables, as well as fault handling. So before we get into the demo, I wanted to quickly take you through a slide deck that I had prepared, which sets the agenda, use cases, and features, which sets the stage and context for the demo. All right. So let's dive in. So this is the account management flow. Let's get into the agenda. So I'll start with the use cases, the flow usage, and the scenarios in which this flow can be used. And we will go through some personas who possibly can use it, though it's not limiting to those personas, but it's a good start point. We will talk about some of the features of the flow, the way it's been designed, some of the components have been used, and then we'll talk about, or actually, I'll take you through the flow demo, where we can see all of this in action. And at the end of the demo, we can talk about some of the future enhancements that are possible. The way the flow has been designed is based on the fact that it's a foundation. The flow is by no means complete. The flow is supposed to be a foundation for much more complexity, much more operations, much more uh, components that can be added to accomplish various use cases. All right. So with that, let's start the use cases part. So there are a couple of scenarios in which this flow can be used. One of the first scenarios is, let's assume you are an account manager who reviews the account and wants to create new opportunities or update new opportunity, create or update contacts, possibly also cases going forward, though that portion is not built for in the demo, but it's something that we can talk about at the end. And also, more importantly, is meant for the account manager to review, let's say the account manager of sales, of customer success, and you are on the Salesforce page where you're reviewing the account itself and you're talking to your rep who has who manages the account on the day-to-day basis, and you look at the opportunity and you want to change something in the opportunity, and you can do it with click of a button instead of going through multiple tabs to go through that same operation. As I said, we can increase, add, decrease the complexities that we go through, but that's something that we'll discuss during the demo phase. So that's one of the personas that we can talk about. And more importantly, a part of the flow and the way it's been designed is that the account manager doesn't have to leave the account page, to make the changes or complete the flow. All of that can be done through a single click of a button or through a single lightning page component that's the screen flow that has been added, so that the manager doesn't have to leave the account page, so they can review the account while also making the changes on the go. The other scenario, kind of similar to the first one that we have, which is the team leader updates the account information. Let's say the team leader has a senior leadership review meeting coming up, and before they go into the meeting, they have to review the account and make changes quickly, and where time is of the essence. So you want to go and make changes immediately. And again, this button comes in handy because you can add new contacts, even add contact roles on the opportunity, so that you can clearly define who among the contacts are the key decision makers, influencers, who will drive the opportunity to its most logical end, that is the closed won status, right? So that is where two of the scenarios. One is the account manager reviewing the account with his or her team, or a team leader reviewing it, maybe has to present it to the senior leadership review meeting. A side note to that is, as I said, this is foundational. Maybe in the future, we can also have this much more concrete in terms of the changes that need to be made. Let's say you have a report that you need to build, or maybe upload some files, maybe update some notes. All of that are within the realms of possibility. All right. So those are the two use case scenarios that we're going through. And now that we understand where the use case is, let's go through the flow as it has been designed, some of the flow features that have been used. So one of the first thing is it's a sales flow, it's a screen flow, and also available as a button or on the lightning page itself as a component on the side, and we'll see that when we're going through the demo. So the button, for the purpose of this demo, we can always use the standard option, the standard button that Salesforce provides, which can be linked to this flow. But maybe there are instances where you do not want to place it in the place where we can use it right now. Instead, we want to use it in some other part of the page. We can do that without actually a Lightning component. We can actually do that with a custom button that we have. We can place it anywhere on the Lightning page itself. So that's one. And also it's a user-friendly layout, the screen flow, and it takes you through one screen at a time, and it's user-friendly. And also because of the use of certain features like repeaters, you don't need to see similar screens again and again. You can do it in one clear, one run of the flow itself. Some of the new components that we have used are repeaters. I just mentioned that, as well as sliders, which is a more of a visual representation of numbers, which can help. It's more of a visual thing. It's more of a UI thing that can help a user understand, maybe just slide it instead of typing something in, and you get to see the difference. You get to see the amount that's being modified depending on how you change the numbers. So it's a great visual indicating tool. In this flow, we've also used some out-of-the-box components such as data tables, but we've also tried to include third-party components, whereas like custom data tables, custom buttons for UI, and so on. I also have the streamlined fault path and fault flow, and we have a separate demo just on the fault path. So in this demo, we will just discuss on where it is being used. The other demo is on how the fault path, the flow for the fault path was designed. So we will talk about that in the other demo, but here we will actually see it in practice in an actual flow where we will create an error and the fault path will take care of it. And then, though it's not a new feature, but it's a subflow. We have used subflows in this. Subflows is a great way of kind of batching similar operations in one flow. And we have a mother flow which invokes those subflows. So we have done that in this case. It also helps pinpoint which flow or which operation is bringing in errors. It also can help um, have a modular design. So let's say you want to build a specific feature related to opportunity or modifying opportunities, then we don't have to go into the main flow, which is already very complex. We can just go into that one particular subflow and make changes as we require, making sure that the input and output to the flow is also taken care of so that there are no errors and the flow works as designed. And then finally, we will talk about the future enhancements. This flow has so much scope for enhancements, so much scope for adding complexities and adding more and more operations into this flow itself. One of them that I can think of, and I'll mention that when we are on that page in the demo, is possibly adding more products and price books, which from a sales point of view could be valuable, right? So these are some of the flow features that we're going to talk about. And now let's go into the flow demo. So let's dive into the demo. So I have here, yeah, here's the page on the account. So this is a very standard account page, which we have. I'll just refresh it so that we can see how it all starts. So here we have an account. We have an Express Logistics Transport. That's the name of the company. We have details on it. We have the account owner. We have almost all the information that we need, which also, by the way, can be changed depending on your use case. So that's that. And in addition to that, now the flow web we have created is available in three ways. One of them is the standard button. If I click on it, it shows up. The other, as I mentioned, is the custom button. This is a third-party component that we used. So while in this case, it might seem these two are pretty much close and you don't need it, it's redundant. But there may be instances where we have a lot of stuff, a lot of components that have taken up real estate in the flow. Like I had a use case where the user wanted to add notes, and you don't want to go back up, scroll up to this section and click on it. You want to maybe scroll up here uh, while you're working on notes, maybe let's say you're typing in active, yes or no, and you are here and you want to add some notes. So why do we need to go up? So that's more or less where it comes to. It's more of a UI thing, something that is very specific to the user or the use case itself, but it is an option, and I wanted to show you that. So let's say you click on it, you have the screen that pops up. It's the same thing, but it's just that that button is placed in such a way that's closer to the action, so to speak. All right, so that is the other way. And then the third way, which is just taking up space, which is the screen flow allows. I mean, the starting screen itself is visible. There are use cases where this is much better to have rather than a button here. Either way, it can be called from these three options. So I just wanted to show you that. For the purpose of this demo, I'll stick to this one. But as I said, any of them can be used. So here we are, we have the account, we have the details and the related portion. And now we are in this flow where we can manage the account from this place itself. So let's say you want to create an account, create contacts, and you have, let's say 4 or 5 contacts that you want to add in one go. So let's click on create contact and then say next. Right. So the account is pre-filled automatically. You don't have to fill that. The salutation, and we add some names here. Let's put in some some junk email data. I want to make sure I'm getting data. All right. So we have this one here, and I have, as I mentioned, 3 or 4. So for the purpose of this demo, we will stick to 2. Um, and let's say Dr. Alexander Duran and Duran at mail.com, and some numbers here. And now that I have added all the contacts I wanted to add, and this is the portion, by the way, as I mentioned before, this is the repeater component that we are using. So you can add more and more, right? So let's say you want to add more, you want to add more, and during this time you find that, oh, you don't need to, so you can just remove this thing and it will go away. And so you have basically where you started with the 2 contacts that you want to add. It'll go here and you get a summary. And so this is the next screen. It has taken the information and it gives you a confirmation that new contacts have been created, and those are summarized below. So these were the 2 that have been created. So Rick Thomas and Alexander Duran, they have been created with this. This is the data that you have. And when you press click, what it does, it comes back to the same screen. All right. So you can also do it from here. Again, for the purpose of this demo, we are going to come back to this point, and you can always exit out. If let's say you are here and you're done with it, you can always exit out and you're out of the session. So this is the create contact. Let's talk about creating a new opportunity. So new opportunity comes with the basics here. Again, this is just a demo. If you have, and as I was mentioning during the when I was taking you through the agenda, this is one place where you might want to add more complexity. You might want to look at more products, more price books, identifying the price book, depending on, let's say you have multiple currencies, you can do that. Maybe you have price books for different countries, different regions, like EMEA region or US region. So depending on whatever you have, you can add those in. But for now, for this demo, we just have a very simple standard opportunity where the essential information is being asked for. So standard opportunity. And then we have the close date. We're just going to put something here, and need analysis being the stage. And this is where the slider portion comes in. So let's say you have the number of units. So the calculation for the opportunity amount that I have worked out here is number of units into per unit cost gives you the opportunity amount. It's never that simple in real world, but I just wanted to show you the power of sliders as a user. You can kind of see where you need to be, and that's why I mentioned it as calculator instead of finalizing an amount. This helps you to figure out how much or how many units you need to sell to get a certain amount, right? So let's say you want to get $2,000 of opportunity amount. Can you do that? Maybe you can increase the price and you can then reduce the number of units required. Anything about 2,000 is good for you. So at the minimum, you need 20, right? 20 to hit the 2,000. Fairly straightforward in this case, but when you have multiple products, multiple lines of business, maybe a calculator like this can help. Then you see a checkbox. I'm not going to tick on it right now. I want to show you something, but I will come back to this and show you how we can even create contact roles for opportunities itself. Now, contact roles, for those who don't know, are individuals in your target entity where you're trying to pitch in, where you're making this your sale. Those contacts within the company who are buying influencers, sponsors, executive sponsors, and so on, who play a part in making sure that the deal closes. It's a closed one. So sometimes you may actually want your sales team or your customer success team or anyone who handles external business sales to make sure that they understand this is the executive sponsor, or maybe they're the key economic influencer. So you want to target that. So if you're creating an opportunity, it makes sense to include those, but it not necessarily need to be added at the time of a new opportunity creation. It can also be done in, let's say, an update opportunity stage itself. And that's where I will show this one. So now that we have filled in the information, let's go into the next one. Again, you have the confirmation page. Congratulations, opportunity is created. And here's the link. And yeah, so you have the standard opportunity. This is what we filled in, for example, the stage. And then we have the details. As you can notice, the amount is not showing because that was just supposed to be a calculator. But, and again, as I mentioned, you have the products and the price books, which determine the amount that goes here. But in case you have a use case where that forecast amount should go in here, I mean, it's all about just linking that field to this record, and that can be done. All right. And as you can see here, here's the contact roles. So if you did not create it at that point, you can always create it here, or you can still use, but that one required you to come to the opportunity page and then go on it, which you can actually do it here itself, right? So again, as you saw, after we created the opportunity, it came back to the start screen. And now that you have created this, you feel like you wanted to add opportunities, so or update that existing opportunity that you had just created. So let's go to the standard opportunity. This is the name of the opportunity that we created just now. And let's open that. And let's this time put a value, $90,000. And this time you also want to create contact roles, right? So here it goes. So it has taken the information from you. That is, it's going to update the account. It's going to update the opportunity, but it's also asking you with what contact roles you want to add. And here's the list of full contacts that are available for you to add a contact, right, to the contact role. So let's take Brett and Matt, and let's add, let's say one of them is a business user, and the other one is an executive sponsor. Save those. And before I press next, this, by the way, is the custom data table. This is not the standard data table that is available out of box with Flow. This is the custom data table that we have used. The reason being that the standard data table comes with certain limitations. And that limitation is overcome by using a third-party component. In this case, I have used the unofficial SF data table. It allows multiple updates to happen without having multiple screens. So it's much faster, much more efficient, and that's why we've used it here. So now that we have this saved, we press next, and there you go. So the opportunity has been updated. Contract roles have also been updated. As we saw in the new opportunity, the link can be added here. I haven't added here for this demo, but let's say this was a real account, real operation. All we need to do is make sure that there is a link to it so that you can go in and check yourself. And when we press next, here you go, you back to the start page. But let's see the changes that we made. So this is how it was. Now let's refresh to see what updates the flow brought with it. So you have the amount that's been filled in, and you have the contact roles here, Brett and Matt. Both of them have specific titles. Again, you might think there are certain fields that are empty. Again, that those are pretty easy to add if you do use account roles or any other feature extensively and you have more fields that need to be added, we can add those in during the time of update or during the time of the screen page itself so that we ask that specific field. For example, one of the things that we can do, let's say we want to edit a contact role, one of them could be, is this a primary contact role, which means he or she is your main person, main go-to. So this is a checkbox. It isn't there in currently, but maybe in the future you want to add that. We can have this field available as well. All right. So this is how an update opportunity happens. And finally, I want to show you the update contact. Now, update contact, this is a standard data table. The one I just showed you before is or was the custom data table. In this case, we are simply using the standard data table because we are only editing one contact at a time. So let's say I'm editing Brett again, and if I scroll down, I see what do you want to do? Do you want to change the name, first name, last name, update the email, or update the phone? So let's say I just want to update the phone uh, from the last three digits to 899. There you go. The contact has been updated, and this, as you can see, the 899 is the contact is what has been changed. And if you now go to Brett here and look at the phone number, it should show 899, right? So that is that's the change that has happened. And now if we go back to our account, as you can see, we are back again to that same page. Now, talking about the modular design, now this piece has not been created yet. So, but I just wanted to show you, I mean, it doesn't mean that it cannot be created in the future. And so what I have right now is we are currently building this portion. Thanks for your patience. When you click on next, it'll take you back to the starting screen, which it does. So that's I created the create case button as an option because I wanted to show you the modular scope of this flow so we can keep on adding new processes, new operations, new record creation or update, depending on what is the exact use case. One more feature that I do want to show you is the fault path. I talked about that in the demo or in the slide deck. I do want to show you that. So let's take something that we know obviously is wrong. So if you notice Josh, for example, if you notice, look at the email, it has the ampersand sign and so on. So that's actually a faulty email. And it's also one of those Salesforce contact entries which comes with the developer org. So let's just try and update that one. As you can see, we now get a screen which says we have encountered an error while creating or updating the record. And if it's an input error, you will get an email with changes required so that you can try again. With that, if this is a system error, I mean, this is just a message, standard message that comes through. Along with that, it also has certain information which it is asking the user to share with the admin just in case. So it has a username, user ID, flow name, and also the interview start time. So this, if it is one of those complex system errors, it can be shared with the admin of your org. So once you have this, let's log this error. And it has been logged, and that's it. So the error did show up, but the error did not stop the operation. The user is notified that there was an error, and user will also, in this particular case, I will take you to the fault path. In this case, because it's a user-driven error, it's a faulty email, which can be fixed by the user without the admin's intervention. The user actually gets an email saying, hey, just correct the email, and you're good to go, and you won't face this error. But any which way, what you also see is there is an object that we created, which is the error log object. And if I were to go here and look at it, you see this 2:34 p.m. There's an error type of invalid email. And if I click on this log, on this ID, It exactly shows me what happened, invalid email address. And this is a custom object. This is meant for the admins to have a look at all the errors that have come in. There's an error type that shows it's an invalid email. And at first glance, the admin would understand that this being an invalid email, I'm sure the email, the error was sent to the user. Let's just look at our Gmail to see if the user did get an email. In this case, the admin and the user is me, but nevertheless, there is an email that you get which says, "Hello, Alan, your recent submissions encountered an issue. So action required, please update the missing field." This is a standard stock message. We can customize this depending on the error type. Please contact the admin should you have any issues. The affected record, so we can click on this one and it will take you to the record. And brief error message, the flow tried to update this record, right? So again, everything that you see in that email can be fixed, and it has taken you to the exact account page where the error or the place from which the error showed up. And you can work your way backwards from that page. So this is the email that you get. In addition, if you're an admin, you obviously get this kind of a long form error email, but that's for the admin, and that's something that we'll discuss in the other demo. But I did want to show you that because we have contingencies built for all kind of scenarios, all kind of faults, and the necessary action that needs to be taken. In this case, if it's a user driven, you do get an email. We can customize the template, what exactly the user should get, but the idea being that a fault is addressed, is logged, and the user and the admin are notified. All right. So this is, in a nutshell, the whole screen or the account management flow. As I mentioned, you have three ways of using this flow, one of them being the standard out-of-box button, or take up real estate on the Lightning page, or use one of the custom buttons. Again, this is a third-party unofficial SF button that we can use to place it anywhere. It can even be used here. Let's say you want to put it between these two sections. You can do that here. So it depends on your use case. And also, while this is in the center, you can change it to being in the middle as well. I can quickly show you that. And it's not something that is too hard to do. If you were to do this using, let's say, an LWC component, you will need developer to create this for you and then provide you with the button. In this case, it's pretty simple. It's just using that third-party app to build this. Obviously, it depends on your org security, privacy guidelines, whether we can use a third-party component or not. But I wanted to show you what we have with us, what we can do. And at the end of the day, it's a discussion on what is possible and what is not possible in your business. Right. So as I mentioned, this is how the layout looks like, and you can change it here. Let's say, if you have multiple buttons, you can add them. There is scope for CSS and other fine tuning. If you have developer on in hand, they can do it for you. So this is what we can do. So that, in a nutshell, is this demo. And that wraps it up. I hope this gave you a clear idea of how the flow can be used to enhance Salesforce automation. If you found this helpful, please feel free to reach out to me. And once again, thanks for watching.